talking to a retail employee shortly after her executive team had published their new vision for the company. And it described their company as customer-centric. The employee was struggling with all of the ongoing organizational changes. So when I asked him, what does customer-centric mean to you? He really had no idea. After a little bit of conversation, he then stated, I guess it means saying hello to customers when they come in the store. However, to the executives, customer-centric meant redesigning their processes, the structures, and the interactions so that they worked for the customer, which meant a lot of changes for the way the staff did their work. Much greater than just saying hello to customers when they came in the door. And that disconnect created conflict and made the transition for that company more difficult. What could the executive team have done differently to allow that employee to engage faster with the changes that were needed, participate more fully, feel less stress, create a new story that shifted their identity of what the company was and what it was going to be. And not just any story, but an intended outcome story. There are 6 characteristics of an effective and useful intended outcome story. And in today's video, I want to share the first 2. Hello, welcome back to the channel. I'm Dr. Dawn Marie Turner, President of Turner Change Management and creator of the Readiness Mindset. Your intended outcome story for any change that you want to make in your organization is a clear, concrete, and concise description of what it will look like and feel like when you, your employees, your colleagues are living that outcome. What makes the outcome story so powerful for enabling change is that it connects our conscious, logical centers of our brain with our unconscious and emotional centers of our brain, and it allows them to work together. In a previous video, I shared why the outcome story is so powerful, and I'll post the link to that video in the show notes below. Writing your outcome story takes some practice, and it can take some time, but it's well worth the effort. Here are 2 of the 6 characteristics of a helpful intended outcome story to guide change. Characteristic number 1, clear and concrete language. Your intended outcome story needs to be written and spoken using clear or plain language that everyone can understand, and it means the same thing to each level of the organization. When I work with executives who are just beginning to write their outcome stories for their change initiatives, I notice a tendency to move toward vague or abstract language. For example, they'll talk about becoming customer-centric, increasing efficiency, or improving quality. Now, these are all goals, and they may be important to your outcome. The problem is that they can mean different things to different people depending on where they are in the organization. They also tend to be words that are often overused and may carry no meaning. My clients, the executives I referred to in the opening story, went back and defined customer-centric in plain language. They helped their employees understand why the changes were needed and what it meant to participate in the process. The second characteristic of an effective and useful intended outcome story is that it's concise yet comprehensive. Early in my work to help leaders develop their outcome for change initiatives, I talked about writing an outcome statement. However, I found that leaders tended to write short, pithy statements, and they often confused the outcome statement with their corporate vision statement. And so they were looking for one-liners. Your outcome story isn't one statement, and it's not the same as your company vision. Your outcome story defines specifically what the outcome is for a particular change that you want to make in your organization. And so, although it shouldn't be just one statement, it also shouldn't be a novel. It is a concise yet comprehensive story. It should describe what your department, team, or organization will look and feel like when it's living that story. So it needs to be long enough to meet another characteristic, which I'll talk about in a future video, and that is to paint a picture. Yet short enough that people can tell, retell, and embed that story in their everyday practices. Your intended outcome story is just that. It's a short story that will get told and retold throughout the change process. We don't remember sets of bullet points or quantitative goals. What we remember and create our world through is our stories. So your outcome story needs to be concise, but it still needs to enable the story to be told. Without an intended outcome, your leaders and employees will have difficulty letting go of the current environment, moving towards something new, different, that may be uncomfortable. So I'm going to encourage you to take some time this week to reflect and to begin to write your intended outcome story for a change that you want to make, whether it's in your organization or in your own personal life. Next week, I'll share 2 more characteristics to writing and using an intended outcome story for healthy and sustainable change without resistance. That's it for now. I hope you found this helpful. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.